Hello, my name is Jason, and I just read the Temeraire book series. So, have you ever been reading a history book and you've just been flipping the pages and it's been reading for an hour because you got to get all this studying done, and then you're just super bored, and then suddenly you start daydreaming and suddenly you ask the question, "What about dragons?" I don't know if that's exactly how it happened, but I like to think that Naomi Novik, when she started writing her Temeraire series, she was reading a history book about the Napoleonic Wars and was like, "This would be a lot more interesting if there was dragons in it." And that's kind of the basic premise of the Temeraire book series. There's 9 books. The first one is called His Majesty's Dragon. Basically, it's the Napoleonic Wars. There's a boat captain, or what do you call him? I'm completely blanking on what you call people who are in charge of boats. But he's in the Navy, and they capture a ship which has a dragon egg in it. And this dragon egg hatches, and it chooses Will Warm. So what that means is the dragon chooses a someone to lead it, I guess, like a partner for the rest of their life at hatching. If they don't interact well with humans. But if they do, then they're like partners for life, and they can be used in the warfare. And that's how Britain has its air force, and how the French do as well, and Prussians, and all of them. China's a bit different, but that's kind of, I'll leave that to you to read for yourself. I'll discuss that more during the spoiler review, because that is one of my favorite elements, is discussing culture. But anyways, that's kind of the basic premise of it. If you're wondering whether you would like it, I think it's a really good book. Or they're 9 good books. Together they're long, but they're each short and mostly contained, even though they progress the main plot. So I think that's kind of the pacing of it. The setting is very in depth for this time period, but kind of just doesn't talk more about the past, and obviously doesn't discuss the future as much. Then there's characters. I'd say the characters are described really well, and you always know what they're thinking. Similarly, I think you can always tell what's happening. The writing is very clear in this. It's not long, like a super detailed description and everything, but it's always clear what's happening, because it's just written so concisely, and so clearly as well. So I think that's one of its strengths, but it's not the most epic, I would say. It's just more, but it's personal. It's good. It's short. It's awesome. I like the books. So I think you would like them too. Obviously, if you know you wouldn't like that kind of book, how I just described, don't pick it up. But if you do, I would encourage you to pick it up and then return for the spoiler review, which I'm gonna start doing spoilers in about 5 seconds. I don't know. So that's your warning. Now into the spoiler review. Okay, so I really liked the relationship between Will Lawrence and Temeraire. Obviously, it's the main relationship. How can you not like it? I mean, if you didn't like it, that's gonna ruin the whole story for you, because that's what it's the whole story is focused on. I also really liked the themes of duty versus liberty, and how those two are not conflicting but also sort of conflicting. And it's just cool to see Lawrence try to explain these concepts to Temeraire, who doesn't know anything about them, but he's so curious about them and so intelligent as well. Also, just seeing Lawrence go to China and see that their way is just better for dragons, and that dragons are definitely intelligent enough to warrant that. It's interesting to kind of see his journey as he accepts that dragons are deserving of rights, and then Temeraire's journey as he begins to convince other dragons that they are worthy of rights, and all this stuff. So let's just go into some of the details of the plot. The first book, its pacing was really good. Its setup was really good. It starts out, he gets the dragon egg, and he is thrust upon this journey, basically. And he kind of has to separate from his family. He goes over to this, to the aviator school in Dover, and he just starts learning. Temeraire is showing off his intelligence. He questions the, what are they called? Formation tactics, which is a theme throughout the whole book series. He's constantly questioning the formation tactics, because that's who Temeraire is. He's always questioning things. So they have that whole journey where they're just learning all this stuff, and then at the very end, they have to protect Britain from France, as France has this creative strategy to get over the channel, and then we get the reveal of the Divine Wind, and Temeraire is not just what is it, Imperial? I think that's what it is. He's actually a Celestial as well. So it's just this crazy reveal. Maybe not that crazy because we haven't seen a Celestial, but it's a good reveal. And it's a good climax. It's just a very well done story. The next one is, and I would say this is true for all of them. All of them are just really well done stories, but like they also all connect to the major story of Temeraire and Lawrence trying to win the Napoleonic Wars, and Temeraire trying to free the dragons, and also he has this rivalry with, I forget her name. I should remember her name. The white dragon, the white celestial. You know who I'm talking about. But yeah, I mean, I totally should remember her name. But that rivalry is good. I just love that. They don't explore this fully, I would say, because Lawrence is just who he is. He can't really look at it from this angle. But France treats the dragons better than Britain a lot sooner. Like, Temeraire comes back to Europe and he's like, hey guys, we should like have rights too. And then, don't remember her name, White Dragon comes back and tells France and is like, yeah, we should have rights too. And France is like, oh yeah, okay. But Britain has all these like, parliament and all that. You can't just go to one person. And even if you did, it's not necessary. I don't know that it'd be better. But Temeraire, or maybe it wasn't Temeraire. I remember someone made the case for, I think it was in the second book. Someone made the case for a dictator versus a democracy. And yeah, well, I do think democracies are more representative of the people. I do see the pros of a dictatorship, especially if it's an elected dictatorship. That would, obviously, I don't think that would be the best, but I see the merits. And there are many merits to pretty much every political system. I mean, maybe if you invent a political system, it'd be stupid. It's not, but you know what I mean. So yeah, Temeraire. There's also all the other dragons. I think Temeraire's relationship with the dragons is also really interesting because he's just smarter than them. Also, the common like personalities among the dragons, like they all have different personalities, but all of them have the main theme of pride. It's cool. I like it, and I like how it's based on like the myths of dragons hoarding gold and stuff like that. It's very interesting, and it's just interesting is such a versatile word that I use it too much. It's very detailed, and I just really love detailed world building. Even though, and this is one of the critiques I have of it, is it's alternating the history in the Napoleonic Wars, and I think it's an alternate history. It's been a while since I've studied Napoleon, but I think it's an alternate history of this time period. But when dragons change everything that came before, leading us to not the Napoleonic Wars, it would, I'm sure. So yeah, I don't know. Unless they're proposing that dragons are actually real, and this is the real history, except for one difference, which is that Lawrence gets the egg. That, I doubt it, but yeah. There is a lot in this book that Temeraire changes, especially with relations between the East and the West. That's another thing I like, is they travel all over the globe in this book series. And it's just awesome to see them explore so much and explore all those cultures. It's like, the only other review I have on this channel so far is The Wheel of Time. One of the things I say is the cultures are so detailed. The great thing about setting it in Earth is you can make the cultures detailed without making, like, this crazy, like, I don't even know how much detail you'd have to, like, put into research and creativity. You can just say, oh yeah, this is China's culture, how they treat dragons. This is how they treat dragons, there we go, boom. That's China's culture. Now you got, you can do that for every country. So much easier than you can do for, like, I don't know, the Aiel, or, looking at a different example, Rosharians, or, Alethi. Like, there's so much, like detail that you can put in because it's set in the real world, and that's a good strength of this book. It also helps with the concise descriptions. The other thing is that Lawrence speaks like an Englishman. So when I'm reading like one of the fantasy books I typically read, high fantasy, the character is human, but they're different. They don't feel quite the same. Actually, a lot of times they do, but my favorite ones they don't because they pay attention to culture. This one, he feels like someone, I don't know anyone personally like this, but he feels like someone from history, and so I can relate to what he's saying and how he feels about what he's saying. Like, there was one where he goes to New Zealand, and I don't remember which book it is. I think it's like 6 or something, but he goes to New Zealand and he's meets with he like basically has an interaction with a soldier, and the soldier swears at him, and it's like the first time I've heard a like serious swear word in that book, and it, like even though I hear those in real life and I'm like, oh whatever, people swear all the time, I can't do anything about it, oh well. But in this book it was like, oh, Lawrence wouldn't like that. Just stop doing that, man. And it hit me different, which is crazy how like empathetic you can be to a character. Just like you've spent so much time in their head, you know how they would react to that, even if it's never happened before. And it's just cool that that was a crazy moment for me, because I heard that and I went, oh, you can't do that. Wait a minute, that's Lawrence speaking, not me. And yeah, that was just crazy. So yeah, there's a lot to love in this book, and I hope you enjoyed it too. If you didn't, oh well. And if you enjoyed my review, make sure to leave a comment explaining like why you like it, because I don't know, I kind of want to grow this channel a bit, but yeah, I think mostly I just want this to be a community. So just comment if you want, like if you want, subscribe if you want more, or if you want to see more of these videos. If you have any book suggestions, I have a lot right now that I'm slowly getting to, but hopefully I'll finish those, and then I'll need more book suggestions. So if you have those, leave those in the comments. I'd love to hear of them. And that's all I have for this video, so thanks for watching.